everyday life is dictated by emotions, much more than we can see or perceive. For example, can you imagine what it would be like if you took an exciting trip into an unknown and exotic country but couldn't feel the exhilarating rush of excitement? What if you spent time with family or close friends but couldn't feel the love between you? The ability to laugh or cry, to feel blissful or scared, is a source of beauty and adventure in life. We crave feeling because the experience of emotion makes life matter. It transforms our world from an objective, conceptual fact into a living, breathing experience. Emotions add texture to our lives. However, emotions can sometimes be very painful. Emotional problems are among the most difficult to deal with, especially if they're long-standing or traumatic. While the enigmatic power of emotions can enrich our lives beyond measure, it can create challenges just as easily. The intelligence needed to manage this potent inner force, using it for our highest good, has largely eluded mankind for centuries. It's not easy being human. We go through a lot of stressful situations in our everyday life. Whether it's our work, our family, our love life, or our health, these scenarios that often enrich our life can also take a heavy toll on us. This may seem familiar to you. Take any one of these situations. Now, think about the negative emotions you usually feel when things get a little bit rough. You are most likely to feel stressed, pressured, angered, depressed, sad, afraid, or disappointed. That's okay. These emotions are a part of life. So, what do you do to manage these emotions? You might try to have some fun. So you go out to socialize. You watch sports. You get a drink. Perhaps you want to connect with nature. Or listen to some music. But as you may have experienced, these short-term solutions can provide enjoyment, but they are merely temporary releases from the debilitating emotions we can often feel. Do you see a pattern? Many of us go through life stuck on an emotional loop, relying on external resources which address the effects, but not the actual cause of our problems. Perhaps there is a better way. Through the eyes of the heart, we can begin to understand that emotions are not just reactions, and most importantly, that you do have the ability to choose your emotional state and not be a victim of life. No emotions we experience are wrong or bad. They are a part of life. However, it becomes obvious that some of the emotions we experience renew us and add quality to our lives, and others deplete us and rob us of vitality and enjoyment. Your body knows the difference. Every time you make an emotional shift, like from joy to sadness, anger to calm, love to anxiety, and so on, at least 1,400 biochemical changes take place inside you immediately. These hormonal changes are not fleeting. They affect your body for hours. Depleting emotions release excessive amounts of stress hormones into your system, like too much cortisol and adrenaline, affecting your health. Conversely, when we experience heart-related renewing emotions, your body produces regenerative hormones like the anti-aging hormone DHEA and the love hormone oxytocin. Renewing emotions increase our resilience. Stress accumulates, creating nervous system chaos and drains our energy, while renewing emotions and attitudes recharge our inner battery, we can learn to move from depletion to renewal by activating the power of the heart. As you can see, emotions play an important role in how you think and behave, and in your health and longevity. They are like our internal weather. They shape our perception of reality and influence the decisions we make, both in the short and long term, from what we decide to have for breakfast to which candidates we choose to vote for in political elections. By being more aware of the power that emotions have in our everyday life, we can gain better control and take charge of them. Emotions teach us a lot about ourselves. Sometimes they help us, at other times they get in the way. It can seem like we don't have a choice, but we do. It's not always easy, but with practice, it becomes easier than you may think. Let's do an exercise now to get a better sense of how you're experiencing emotions that renew or drain you. By using the inner weather report, you can begin to see emotional patterns that deplete you and those that regenerate you. By doing so, you'll get a better view of what needs to change. Emotions on the upper left are those that have a lot of energy associated with them. Are they draining or renewing? Ask yourself, what emotions do you experience that would be represented in the upper left quadrant, and how do they affect you? Here are some examples. The lower left quadrant represents emotions that are less energized but often very depleting. What emotions do you experience that would be represented in the lower left quadrant, and how do they affect you? Here are some examples. Now, let's look at the other side of this grid. In the lower right, we have emotions that don't necessarily have a lot of energy in them, but they are very renewing. What emotions do you experience that would be represented in the lower right quadrant, and how do they affect you? Here are some examples. The last quadrant is the upper right. Here is where you experience emotions that are regenerative and energized. What emotions do you experience that would be represented in the upper right quadrant, and how do they affect you? Here are some examples. As you can probably see, experiencing life on the right side is a lot more enjoyable, healthy, and productive than on the left. Ask yourself, how often am I living emotionally on the left versus the right? What patterns do you see in how you experience your emotions? Think about how life would be if you were experiencing more regenerative emotions more often. Life is made up of thousands of moments. What would your life become after experiencing many more moments on the right side of your inner weather report? Your heart's intelligence can help you get there. In the next chapter, you'll experience a technique that will help you move from the left side to the right side of your inner weather more often, from depletion to renewal, from old life to new life.